God, I ask that your Holy Spirit speak through me. I ask it in your name and for your sake. Amen. Now in this documentary, I want to talk about 3 trends that are leading us to one day become followers of the Antichrist if we're not careful. Trend 1 is the people who changed the schools 100 years ago to begin teaching the theory of evolution to students have an agenda. They want to teach that they are just animals, that students are just, and we all are just animals. And teaching the theory of evolution, introducing that into schools, also means that certain other subjects like history were changed. And bringing the theory of evolution into schools means that they changed other subjects like history to support it. For example, history textbooks teach that the farther you go back in history, the less civilized people become, the dumber they are. And that's an agenda to support the theory of evolution. But in pre-flood times, before Noah's flood, some people being influenced by fallen angels in Genesis 6:4, and other fallen angels which have the knowledge of the ages. These fallen angels have the knowledge of the ages. These people, the fallen angels, came unto and that merged with were actually very advanced, as this video is going to show. After all, Ecclesiastes 1:9 says, "There is nothing new under the sun." Now, the agenda for teaching evolution in schools and teaching in history, that the farther and farther you go back, the less advanced people were, is to teach people that they're just accidents, that they're animals, that with science through genetic manipulation, they can be made quote-unquote better, faster, stronger. But as in the days of Noah, like Jesus speaks of in Matthew 24:37, God will judge people who buy into the genetic manipulation and become human hybrids, having their DNA, which is God's book in Psalm 139:16, rewritten through DNA editing, so that they become the devil's book instead of God's book. Because Psalm 139:16 talks about your DNA being God's book. And if you have genetic manipulation, then you're allowing the devil to rewrite your book. You're allowing the devil to rewrite God's book, your DNA, to make it his book. Now, trend 2 is the fallen angels slowly giving knowledge to people over the ages. It's like suddenly, inexplicably, these major advances happen. And I believe it's through the influence of fallen angels coming and teaching men these things. Knowledge is going to increase and people will run to and fro, as it says in Daniel. The result of which is to move people farther and farther away from God. The Industrial Revolution in 1760, the movement of people from the farms to the cities that followed that, the telephone invented in the late 1800s, the automobile in 1903, the jet airplane in 1939. The long-term result of these things, I know some good came out of it as well, but the long-term result has been that members of the same family are now living farther and farther away from each other than they ever did. It's causing the breakup of the family, resulting in the breakup of the church, because the church is now being converted by the world. Now, trend 3, in the old advanced civilizations in this video, you're going to notice that people carved pictures of what they believed were gods that came to visit them. But these gods, these little g gods, are not the one true God. These gods, the ones that they consider gods, are fallen angels that visited them, not God. And they worship these fallen angels. But the devil can masquerade as an angel of light. It says that in 2 Corinthians 11:14. And the devil came to them in the form of these gods and will come to people in any form necessary to trick them. One day soon, I believe that the fallen angels will come to people today as aliens, people as beings from outer space. They're going to say they're here to help us. And many on this earth that are not really Christians or in the church will fall away, as it mentions in 2 Thessalonians 2:3, and they'll start worshiping these beings coming from outer space. And I believe this is the great falling away that the Bible speaks of in 2 Thessalonians. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you a Pepsi commercial that will show you what people are prepping for. The Pope has already said also that he'll baptize aliens if they come. And the government, the military, asks people what to get ideas about to put into their alien response plan that they're formulating. And in news clips from reputable sources, when they do time-lapse photography, when they slow the camera down, they can pick up these little spaceships that change direction faster than any ship they pick up these little tiny spaceships, and they can't explain it. I want you to consider these three trends because I believe they're leading us into the one more government, one more global government. And they're going to tempt a lot of people to follow the Antichrist, but we've got to remain strong. We've got to ask Jesus Christ to forgive us for our sins, and we've got to ask Jesus Christ to save us while there's still time. Today is the day to be saved.
In the book of Genesis, it says that the sons of God came into the daughters of men. They created a hybrid offspring who are called the Nephilim, or the fallen ones. They're referred to as the giants or the mighty ones, and some believe they were between 8 and 15 feet tall.
This is handed down not only in the Bible, this is also handed down in Sumerian languages, that some of the gods had sex with humans and the offsprings were giants. In the beginning of time, extraterrestrials had sex with humans, and the product of this sexual contact were giants.
When we look at the modern evolutionary cycle for human beings, it's still put on the shoulders of Darwinistic views. So anything that steps outside of those viewpoints is usually greatly challenged.
Amongst these sublime objects, the divers found an intriguing bronze item, about 20 centimeters high, which began to disintegrate as soon as it was removed from the water. From the first, scientists realized that this was a mechanism for astronomical data. Scrupulously preserved at the National Archaeological Museum of Athens with the other objects from the wreck, the mechanism aroused the curiosity of many researchers. It was only in the 21st century that modern tools for scanning could penetrate the corrosion to reveal in 3 dimensions the interior of the machine. This showed a set of interlocking gears of astounding ingenuity. High-resolution photographs using different exposures brought to light inscriptions on the sides of the machine which appeared to be part of an instruction manual. Scientists compared the numbers inscribed in the text to the number of teeth in the gears and their arrangement, and applied these to the known astronomical cycles of antiquity. Thus, a reliable reconstitution has been made.
tous les éléments concordent pour déterminer.
All the clues point to the same date, including the metallurgical analysis and especially the text analysis. The form of the letters is typical of the period, and the vocabulary used is found on all the other texts of the same period. Given the extensive information we have, a reliable reconstitution can be made.
Housed in a rectangular frame, the machine shows data on both sides. In front is the larger dial, showing the 365 days of the year according to the Egyptian solar calendar. Inside, a second circle shows the 12 signs of the zodiac. By turning a handle, one could position the two hands to indicate, for each day of the year, the exact position of the sun and moon, and a small sphere indicating the phase of the moon. In order to guarantee its exactitude, whatever the day or year chosen, a dial on the back of the mechanism shows the metonic cycle, which reflects lunar and solar cycles over a period of 19 years, corresponding to 235 lunar months. Above this, another spiral dial indicates eclipses of the sun and moon. The handle was used to advance the pointer to determine when the next eclipse would occur in the Saros cycle. As these operations were connected by the interlocking gears, the actual date of the eclipse showed on the other dial. How did the Greeks manage to devise a mechanism to reflect such complex and irregular data as the lunar cycles? The question also intrigues today's specialists in fine watchmaking. Matthias Butte, Director of Research and Development at Hublot, decided to reproduce these ancient forgotten calculations and integrate them into a modern watch.
Je voulais pas être comme un pilleur de tombes qui vient voler une idée.
I didn't want to be like a tomb robber who comes to steal an idea which has existed for a long time, but rather like someone who approaches our forefathers with deep respect, whose goal is to recreate the antique object in a contemporary form. The original is about 20 centimeters high, and we have been able to create a 30mm movement which can easily be worn on a wrist. This anti-cathera mechanism includes ingenious features which are not found in modern watchmaking.
Here in this mysterious city of Tiwanaku, the god they worshipped is tall, bearded, described as white. Viracocha emerged in times of chaos and destruction from across the waters to bring some kind of renewal to the human race.
The white god Viracocha. In Mexico, he's called Quetzalcoatl, who came with others to bring the first fruits of knowledge. His symbol is all over Teotihuacan.
The feathered serpent, symbol of the enigmatic god Quetzalcoatl, who came from the east after times of tremendous cataclysm to bring civilization to this part of the world.
When you look at mythology, when you look at Egypt, when you look all around the world, you find serpent gods. You find gods of all different types and shapes and sizes, because Satan is a whore, and Satan will sell himself as he needs to sell himself.
This Sumerian cylinder seal from a Berlin museum is astonishing for several reasons. First, it depicts our solar system with the sun at the center and the planets arrayed around it, a fact not known to European science till around 300 years ago. It also shows the planet Pluto, which we didn't discover till 1930. And amazingly, there's another planet, which the Sumerians called Nibiru, and believed that it was from where the Anunnaki, or celestial giants, came from.
If you look at the three figures depicted here, they all look more or less the same size. But if you bear in mind that this figure of the deity, that he is seated, and you add from the knee to the hip to his size, you will realize that he is about 10 feet tall, a giant, one of those who from heaven to earth came.
The Maya and Incas of South America believed a race of giants existed on Earth before the Great Flood. So did many other ancient civilizations.
Some took them for gods. Others left likenesses of them in stone or wrote about them in their histories. As long as 6,000 years ago, another remarkable civilization evolved. Its people were the Sumerians, who had an extraordinarily advanced culture.
Their list of first just almost sounds like a whole list of our whole society. They had the first bicameral Congress, they had the first writing, they had the first school systems, and you just go on and on and on. So you have to ask, well, where did all this come from? And I think that you need to turn to the ancient Sumerians themselves and listen very carefully to what they have to say, because what they have to say, not just in one place, but over and over and over again, is that they were taught civilization by these beings that came from the heavens to the earth.
By examining their alignments with the stars.
If I wanted to leave behind a piece of evidence that suggests where I'm from, one way, for example, is by creating monuments that are in the shape of constellations. In ancient Egypt, the 3 pyramids are aligned with the constellation of Orion's belt. The pyramids are not the only monuments that have this particular configuration.
The ancient site of Teotihuacan in Mexico also contains 3 pyramids that are oriented to match up with the belt stars of Orion.
In the Temple of Osiris in Egypt, a stunning, some say chilling, discovery was made that has ignited controversy in the scientific world. Inside the temple, the walls are encoded with hieroglyphics over 2,000 years old. Cut with incredible precision into the ancient rock, these images record the secrets of how generations of pharaohs lived and died. While Egyptologist Dr. Ruth Hover was photographing one of the wall panels, she made a startling discovery.
There was a lot of rubble at my feet, and it looked to me like it had fallen off, and incised in the stone itself of this oldest temple along the Nile were these figures. I think the images are of ancient technology. They appear to duplicate technology that we now have.
At the bottom appears to be a depiction of an aircraft with a clearly defined rudder. At the top is a shape clearly identified as a modern-day helicopter. To the right of this is a streamlined water vessel, below which is what appears to be a submarine. These simple images have ignited a fierce debate among Egyptologists and researchers. A team of explorers made an intriguing discovery. Almost 1,000 years ago, an ancient people known as the Kumbayan forged these beautiful brooches from gold and copper alloy. At first glance, they appear to be the models of small winged insects, but a second look reveals that there is something highly unusual about these objects. Their design carries anomalies found in no air-breathing creatures in the natural world. As we investigate further, we discover new, unexplained puzzles in the model's design. While all insects have their wings located on the top of their body, this ancient brooch has them at the bottom, a feature found only in modern jet aeroplanes. But there's more. Just like these jets, the brooches have delta-shaped wings. There is a rudder clearly shown, and, quite astonishingly, ailerons. All of these features are found on modern aircraft like the space shuttle. This golden model has thus left a fascinating mystery. Could this be a model of an aircraft that actually existed? By constructing a 16:1 scale model of the artifact, he planned to unravel whether this stunning brooch was more like an insect or a supersonic modern aeroplane. The results are stunning. What was once dismissed as a piece of jewelry modeled as an insect actually flies more like a 21st century aircraft.
We know about 20 of these similar artifacts, and they are something all the same shape. And it was quite interesting, but we don't know the actual purpose of that.
Peter Belting's pioneering research is causing us to reevaluate the accepted story of how mankind conquered the skies. But the true origins of the oldest flying machine may yet prove to be even earlier.
Athens, Greece, the 4th century BC. In his famous dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, the Greek philosopher Plato writes about a lost continent that existed 9,000 years before his time and was home to a highly advanced civilization. Called Atlantis, it was founded by the Greek god Poseidon, and the inhabitants possessed sophisticated technology. But Atlantis was ultimately destroyed by a terrible cataclysm.
If there was such an advanced civilization capable of passing on its knowledge to the Sphinx builders, to the people of the Andes and Mexico, what happened to it? Well, Plato said that there was such a technologically advanced civilization able to sail the oceans of the world. Atlantis, lying on a huge island continent. Look at this stone. I've counted 11 corners. This thing must weigh more than 200 family-sized cars, and it reveals the incredible craftsmanship of the people who built it. These things also reveal something else, an incredible ability to handle things of this size. How on earth did they get it up there?
Bolivia, the ancient mysterious ruins of Tiwanaku. Similar craftsmanship, advanced building capabilities which are unexplained.
The facing stones of this site are perfectly set with no mortar. We took a needle, and that needle we tried to insert at every point along the joint, and the needle couldn't be inserted. A perfect cut.
When the Spanish conquerors asked the Incas whether they built Tiwanaku, the Incas said, no, we didn't build it. It was built thousands of years before us. Now, the evidence shows it was built by an advanced civilization. And a chance discovery reveals just how advanced they may have been.
The building blocks of Tiwanaku aren't held together by cement. Whoever takes them apart discovers the unexpected glint of metal holding the stones together.
What I find amazing here is that to move to each site where the staple was needed, they had to have something like a portable smelting plant to maintain this metal in a molten state.
And here, a similar use of metal joints and stone finely jointed like this L shape here with the same ingenuity. Peru? No, we're a continent away in Africa. Egypt, land of the pyramids.
The 3 pyramids of Giza, wonder of the ancient world. The triumph of another people who knew neither wheel, pulley nor crane. How were they able to haul 100-ton building blocks up so high? A feat modern technology can neither explain nor imitate.
We can find very detailed information on UFOs and aliens in the old Sumerian culture, now considered to be the cradle of our civilization. The people then had extraordinary astronomical knowledge. Zachariah Sitchin.
If somebody says, where did you get the idea? I say, I read the Sumerian tablets, and that's what they say. They said that our solar system is made up of 12 members. And this is stated in the Sumerian text over and over and over again, not one time. And they say there is the sun, which is in the center, not like the Greeks or others thought that the Earth is in the center of the sun. There's the moon, which they gave reasons why they considered it a member by its own, and 10, not 9, but 10 planets. Therefore, I'm very happy that when today astronomers look for this planet, they call it Planet X. They mean maybe the unknown planet, but it's also the 10th planet. They called it Nibiru, which means planet of the crossing, and the ancient symbol was the cross, not from Christian times, but from 6,000 years ago. And they say that this planet, the 12th member of our solar system, has a very large orbit of 3,600 years, and every 3,600 years it comes between Mars and Jupiter close to us.
It's been almost 10 years since little Pluto was demoted from being a planet, but today scientists from the California Institute of Technology have announced that they finally have solid evidence for a Planet X, a true ninth planet on the edge of our solar system.
While the ninth planet has not officially or technically been spotted yet, it is believed to be far beyond the orbit of Pluto, roughly the size of Neptune, with a mass 10 times that of Earth.
Staff writer for the Scientific American, Michael Lemonick, has written an article in the upcoming issue and is here to tell us more about this incredible discovery. Hi, Michael.
Hi.
So how did this discovery come about?
It came about because there are things out there, little icy objects that are orbiting in a funny way, and nobody was quite sure why. It seemed like there might be something with gravity pulling on them, but nobody quite understood. And finally, these scientists that you talked about took a really hard look at it, did simulations, calculations, and they came up with the explanation. It probably is this giant planet.
I think I read somewhere it orbits the sun every 10,000 to 20,000 years.
Right.
Is that why no one has seen it to this point?
No, that's not why. It's because it's so dim. It's so far away that even though it's big, it's very, very dim, and it'll be very tough to spot with a telescope.
I'm also fascinated at the idea that this planet could be so far out there and still our sun be the mass that is keeping it in the gravitational pull of our solar system.
Right, yeah, but no, it's true.
There's something else.
Don't tell me someone broke it.
Built quite a community out there. People in 80 countries were working on it. Major contributions came from India, China, Russia, and Australia.
How?
It was encrypted using ancient Sumerian cuneiform. So once we decrypted the file, it barely took any time to translate the voice.
Voice?
I know. People everywhere have been waiting for this. Ready to change the world.
We came to you many thousands of years ago, when your civilization was young. You have grown quickly and efficiently, but you still have so much to learn. If you want us to return, on the night of your next full moon, the people of Earth must show us they are ready. We will be watching. We come together. It's a miracle. I see
it in your face, it's written in your eyes, burning like the sun in the sky. Girl, I swear that I could taste it every time that we touch. Girl, I can't get enough. Feel the world slow down as our hearts speed up. If the night burns out, then a fiery love's a bit. Something I believe and I see it all around. I'm so glad that I found you. Better than walking on water or breathing in space. Miracle. In love we overcome impossible. Making it rain. Miracle.
And on this day, we came together with one voice. And on this day, we came together with one voice, one purpose as one world, one purpose as one world. And a new world opened up, bringing us as close to space as we were to each other.